All right, I think we can go ahead and start. As new people come in, I'll admit them, and then they can join the session as well. Um, Welcome, everyone. I'm Andre. I work as a labor market consultant covering the Central Coast. Some of you may know me. Before the pandemic, I used to work from the Santa Barbara office. Still do, but mostly we're just teleworking right now, so I'm not there. Um, haven't been there in the past year or so. So currently working from home, but as we return, hope to meet you all who work there in the offices in person. I cover Ventura up to Santa Cruz and all the counties that are next to the ocean in between. And my job is to help people access and then apply the data that we have in their daily work activities. And hence the reason for this presentation. So what I wanted to do is just to show you 3 tools that we have. Some of them are new tools. Some of them have been updated to be more user-friendly and more interactive. And what I want to do is just to show you how to access them and then what kind of information is available there, but more importantly, how different organizations can apply it to their daily activities. You can, if you have a question, you can type it in the chat or interrupt me and then I'll answer it. At the end, also between the tools, I'll try to also gauge how you guys are doing. We're just going over 3 tools today: earn and learn, supply and demand, and also the online job vacancy statistics. All right, so without further introductions, I'll just begin this. Can you guys see this website that I am sharing with you? All right. Excellent. This is the main webpage for our website, and it can be used to access pretty much all of the information that we have when it comes to the labor market. So the 3 tools that are located, first I'll go over earn and learn. And this one can be used by a variety of customers, but it's primarily for the job seekers and for workforce staff who work with the job seekers. The supply and demand is a little more broader in scope, and then it includes other customers as well. And job vacancy statistics, again, mostly for job seekers, but it can also be used by researchers to analyze the demand within any given area. All right, so we're gonna do these 3 tools in 3 steps. First, I'm gonna show you how to access it, as I mentioned before, and then I'll go over some of how to use it, some navigational instructions, and then I'll try to apply it to the organizations. So our website, if you don't know it already, is labormarketinfo.edd.ca.gov. And I'm just going to, if I can access it, I'll type it in the chat in just a second. If you want to follow, you can. I believe that should work, but let me try one more thing. If the first one doesn't work, try the second one. All right, so once on the website, the way to access the first tool is if you scroll down, you'll see different sections here. There's going to be LMID by customer, by subject, by geography. And to access earn and learn, you should go to LMID by customer, but don't click on the headline itself. There's going to be a first bullet point where it says job seekers and students. That's where you will want to click. After that, there are different drop-down menus. The Earn and Learn tool is located in the third one, Occupations in Demand. So clicking on that opens some additional information on middle skills and entry-level infographics. Feel free to explore these on your own. These are great infographics that you can print and share with your customers, or use them just as a display in your office. The tool itself is going to be the last bullet point, California Earn and Learn. Now, as I'm going the navigation instructions with you, I'm going to provide a follow-up email where I'll include the direct links to these, so don't feel like you have to memorize all of this. I'll be providing the direct links to these. So this is the tool and how it looks. The reason we've developed that is to target specific group of occupations. And that group is, the occupation has to be middle skill. So it has to be more than high school, but less than bachelor's degree. So those are going to be what we consider middle skills. At the same time, it also needs to meet the criteria of paying good wage. And the way we determine that is as 80% of the median wage for all of the occupations within the county. And the third requirement, of course, it has to have some opportunities or possibilities for having on-the-job training or some formal classes at the local colleges and universities. When you combine those three, that's where you get the name Earn and Learn, meaning you get an occupation with that doesn't require a lot of education, but still pays good wage and provides opportunities to acquire skills either on the job or by acquiring them at the university or at local classroom offerings. Because of these criteria, you're not going to get a list of hundreds of occupations, and the tool provides you with a list that meets that criteria. So for example, this is a map of different planning units, and the way to get the list of those occupations is to just click on the respective planning unit that you're in. So let's say for Santa Barbara County, you would click on the South Central Coast. And once there, it gives you the list of those occupations and some other statistics, such as do we expect that industry to grow or decline, and then what are the hourly wages for that occupation as well. Once that list is acquired, what you can do is to find training centers that can provide training for that occupation. That's going to be the other tab in the training centers. So let's select, again, South Central Coast is going to be Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. Once I select South Central Coast, there is another selection that you need to make, and that is which occupation is of interest. So this list of occupations is the list of the Earn and Learn occupations that meets the criteria that I have already explained. And for example, if I select medical assistant, it will give me a list of possible training places where job seekers may acquire some training or skills. There's also a tab for the job centers of California. If you're not aware of the address of the nearest one, this tool can be used to look it up. Same thing, there are two drop-down menus. The local area, let's say if you're in the South Central Coast. I'm going to use another example because let's say if you have maybe a client who wants to move to the Los Angeles basin, for example. And this will give you the list of the America's Job Centers of California and their addresses and work hours. So how this tool can be used for job seekers, as already mentioned, to find an occupation that pays a good wage and that also requires some may have some on-the-job trainings. For workforce development staff is to also determine what are some of the occupations that can be supported and can be helped with to help job seekers to go into those occupations. Researchers, economic organizations, and businesses can use it to determine, again, what are the occupations among the hundreds that are available that meet the criteria of having a good wage, and also whether they have, I'm talking about private businesses, similar occupations, and whether they can provide and work with workforce development staff to also offer some on-the-job training for those occupations. And also, of course, to evaluate the wage information and how the wage estimates that we have here compare to what they already are paying at their workplace. So the tool is not, it's not complex, but it can provide a lot of useful information that meets the criteria that I have explained. So before I move on, are there any questions about this tool, or maybe some questions about how you can apply it in what you do at your work? Okay.
Hi, Andrew.
Yes.
This is Liliana. We've met before. I'm a career counselor, and I wanted to know, since you're going to be sending the information, do we provide you with our email on the chat so that you can send us that sheet with the instructions that you had mentioned at the beginning?
Yeah.
I think I'll send it maybe to Peter, and then he can forward it to you guys, because I don't have everyone's email address.
Yeah, so
Okay.
what we could do, Liliana, this is Peter. If you could just punch in your email in the chat, I will get that. And then once Andre sends me the information, I could forward that information to the people that are trying to receive a copy of it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. I see no other questions at the moment. Oh, actually, there is a question in the chat. So the question is the list of learn and earn occupations complete? For example, I don't see welders and other occupations that are considered middle skills. The list has three main criteria. So first one, as you mentioned, correct, it has to be middle skill, but also it has to pay 80% of the county's median wage for all of the occupations. That's the second criteria. And okay, sorry, I was admitting. Yeah, so it's not just middle skill. So if I can provide you with a list that has just the middle skills without regards to the wage information, if that would be of interest. So if you're just looking at middle skills, no, that's not a complete list. I think there are going to be more occupations there if you discard the wage requirement and another requirement. So please let me know in the chat if you would like that, and then I can prepare and send that info to you. All right. The second tool that I want to show, so I'm going to go back to the main web page. And to go to the supply and demand tool, again, you scroll down past the table and the graph, and the tool is going to be under LMID by geography. Click on that. It takes you to this page where we divide or organize our data by geographic areas. So you see we have statewide, county data, and so on. Scrolling down, we want to go to regional planning units. And there are two dashboards there. We are interested in supply and demand for the purposes of today's presentation. So I'm going to click on that, and this tool will come up. This one is used in more broad research, So here you'll see a greater variety of occupations because we're not limited by either the wage information, or we're also not limited by the occupations that may provide on-the-job training. So here is one of the tools where you can explore much more occupations. The page starts at the statewide level and gives an overview of top 20 educational program completers in California. So for example, if I hover over that, number 1 is business administration and management, and it gives you a number of completers. What it informs is that how many people will be available in the workforce to take on the jobs associated with business administration and management. In other words, it can be a measure of the supply that can be poured into the workforce. On the bottom, there's a list of top 20 occupations by total job openings at the California level. This is what we at EDD project can happen to these occupations. These are not to be used as exact numbers, but more as a general direction of the occupation and the general magnitude. Of course, many things can happen in that within the 10 years time span, and it's not possible to account for all of the events, especially such as shocks or economic shocks. But it gives a very good information at what we expect can happen. To delve more deeply into these at the local level, there are 3 tabs there. So first one is supply, and that's going to be measured by program completers. So for example, sometimes I just choose these at randoms, but yesterday I was working on research in industrial engineers, so I'll just use that as an example. If you have an occupation in mind that you want to research, you type that here, and it'll give you a list. If you cannot find a specific occupation, we have a code finder tool that I will provide the link to in my email, and you can use that tool to sort of use keywords and narrow down to the occupation. Sometimes the names that are used in the workspace and within the workforce development system can be different than the official classification. So I'll click on industrial engineers and select the South Central Coast as the area. When you scroll down, it gives you the time series of the program completers. If you hover over it, it'll tell you there were 115 program completers in 2019. So over time, it seems that more and more people are graduating that can have the skills to become industrial engineers. Some of these programs are going to be directly related to the occupation, while other programs can simply provide the skills necessary for this occupation. So over time, there's been an increase with a little bit of downward trend. It remains to see what happens, in 2020. But overall, it seems that this occupation in San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara seems to be on the rise by program completers. So this tells us that we expect, based on this trend, more and more people to graduate from the universities or colleges that can become industrial engineers. Education tab provides a little more detail on these. So remember, 115, there were 115 of them in 2019. If I click on education, what it will do is to break it down further. So what it'll tell me is the institution that where those completers come from. And then also, what's the breakdown of the degree requirement? So most of them are bachelor's degrees, and then there are some of them who are master's degrees. So the word level is just 3. So there's even some doctors as well, but I can't see them on the graph here. Also, it provides the breakdown of the type. So industrial engineering versus manufacturing engineering or back in science. Manufacturing engineering 23 and 106 for industrial in 2018. So this is just a tab that allows to delve more deeply into the characteristics of program completers. What it tells the researchers is that the industrial engineers is a program that requires some years of study, and then most of them are going to require bachelor's years of study, but people are completing more and more of these programs. So how, that's one side, supply of the workforce. How about demand? You know, you can have a lot of program completers with no employers actually posting for these occupations. So over this one, this data is available for 2020. So there has been an increase. Remember, we can't see the 2020 for the program completers yet, but it seems that between 2018 and 2019, there was a decrease in job ads for the industrial engineers, along with a decrease in program completers. So they moved sort of together or in tandem. There's also a list of top middle skill occupations in the South Central Coast. So this can also be used as an example to answer a question that I was answering before I started showing this tool. Notice there are a lot more middle skill occupations when you do not account for the wage and on-the-job training differences or criteria. All right, so why this tool is used? Simply to understand whether there will be enough supply of the workforce for a specific occupation, and whether there is sufficient demand for it by the local employers. So for example, for businesses, if they decide to move into the area, program completers can help them understand whether they'll have enough pool to draw from if should they need should they want industrial engineers at their workplace. For job seekers, they can take a look and see whether by job ads, as measured by job ads, there's actually demand for these occupations, and that can inform them whether they can go into this or occupation, whether it will provide them with opportunities. And of course, educational institutions can use this to evaluate which programs maybe to expand based on the local demand in the economy. So as with the previous tool, I'll stop here and see if you guys have any questions. All right, I don't see anything in the chat. Okay, then I'll proceed to show the final tool for today. Starting from the homepage again, and this can be the tool that is much easier to access than the other one. When I scroll down, all you need to do is to find online job vacancy statistics under LMID data library. And once you click there, it takes you to the tool right away. We used to publish this tool as a PDF file, but since then we redesigned it. It's much easier to access, and it has a monthly updates for these job ads. So once you got access to this tool, what you need to do is to use the drop-down menu for the area and select the area of interest. Let's say if I select Santa Maria, Santa Barbara, what it gives me is a list or a ranked list for occupations in the area, and then cities that have the most job postings for that month. So for example, here we're looking at May of 2021. What are employment sectors where these jobs are being posted? And then also in some of the employers. Now these are top 10, so that's not going to be a complete complete list. If you want a more complete list or any other custom request, feel free to get in touch with me and I'll give you that report. It's just as for the middle skill occupation, this doesn't cost anything. Just we don't publish it on the website, so you'll need to get in touch. Another useful feature is the month over job ads, which just tells you what was the change in job ads when compared to the previous month. So for job seekers, it's very useful because they get to see which employers are in the area that they might be interested in or which occupations are advertising. And for the workforce development stuff, it's also very useful because you get to also tailor some of these job ads to help to better match them with the job seekers or clients that you may have. For business employers, the job ads help to understand where most of the other employers in their industries either might be located or if they post for the positions that they might advertise. For example, if I want to move to Santa Maria, right away I can see that there are a lot more job postings. Of course, this is just a first step in the research, and I would need to see what kind of occupations are being posted and what kind of employers are there in the area. But it provides at least a good step to see which city is actually going to be easier to find workers for my company. And this is probably one of the easiest tool as well, easiest to access and easiest to navigate. But the only limit I'd say is that it just lists top 10. So please don't hesitate to contact.